You ever have one of those moments where the whole world just tilts sideways, like the ground slips right out from under your feet, and suddenly nothing you thought you knew is safe anymore? Yeah, that was me, standing at a hospital fundraiser with a champagne glass rattling in my hand, when two tiny voices cut through the hum of polite conversation and called me Daddy. I'm Benjamin Caldwell. Yeah, that Caldwell, the one with the charity galas and the can of kids label stamped on his medical chart. So imagine locking eyes with the one woman I ever really loved, Emma Harris, who up and vanished 5 years ago without a word, only to return with twins who looked so much like me it actually hurt to breathe. I'm not the type to get rattled by much. Years of boardrooms, deadlines, building a name from scratch. I can take a punch. But this was different. Because once upon a time, I told Emma I could never give her a family, and that truth was what broke us. I loved her enough to let her go, or at least that's the story I told myself when I watched her disappear. No explanations, just that tight, echoing silence you can never quite scrub out of your memory. So fast forward, there I am, playing the part at another ribbon cutting, smiling for cameras, shaking hands, feeling absolutely hollow inside because the doctors had just confirmed what I'd feared for years, irreversible infertility. Like a lock on a door I'd never get to open. I'm sipping water at the reception, half listening to applause that sounds muffled, when I see her. Emma. She's standing across the room under the warm lights, looking exactly like I remembered, serene, beautiful, but not alone. Two little kids are hanging onto her dress. The girl has Emma's dimples, the boy, his eyes. God, those were my eyes staring back at me. My heart hammered so hard I thought everyone could hear it. Emma stepped closer, holding the boy's hand, and all the air in the room just vanished. Ben, she said, her voice brittle and sharp, like she didn't trust it. Before I could even answer, her son piped up, Mommy, is that the man from your work picture? The little girl reached out, her hand barely brushing my pant leg, and whispered, Daddy. I almost hit the floor right then. I barely muttered an apology before escaping into the corridor, the hospital walls spinning around me. I dropped to my knees, clutching my chest, the word Daddy bouncing around in my skull. Impossible, impossible, I kept thinking. I'd been told it wasn't in the cards for me, and now here were two miracles staring me in the face. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in a hospital bed with a nurse handing me water, and Dr. Patel telling me I'd had a mild cardiac episode from all the stress. You need to rest, he said. Sure. Rest. As if. When I asked about Emma, Dr. Patel told me she'd stayed until I was stable, then left. He said she'd given birth to twins 4 years ago, under the name Emma Caldwell. My name. I couldn't make sense of it. How could this happen? The diagnosis, the years apart. Was the universe just screwing with me? I lay there, staring at the ceiling, wondering how you forgive someone for protecting your dream but shattering your heart, and whether I could ever forgive myself for walking away. Let me back up a sec. Before the heartbreak, before the secrets, we actually had something rare, real love, the kind that feels like air after a storm. We met again at a community fundraiser, not a fancy gala, just handing out cookies to sick kids under white tents. Emma's hair was pulled back, her badge crooked, smiling like she'd just heard the best joke. We walked and talked for hours, and for the first time in forever, I felt like just a guy again, not a CEO or a walking PR statement. Afterward, we grabbed coffee, split a slice of pie, and talked about why we always ended up at that corner cafe when the world felt heavy. She said, You forget you're human a lot, and I had to laugh because, yeah, more than I like to admit. By summer, I was basically living at her place. It was normal, unflashy, but good picnics, late-night talks, all the small things you miss when you're too busy trying to impress everyone but yourself. I even proposed under an old oak, just us and the wind, no audience. She said yes, through happy tears, and it felt like forever might actually work out. But here's the twist. My family's old school, always talking about grandkids at every dinner. Emma wanted kids, always had. And I couldn't give her that. I waited to tell her, hoping for a miracle, but eventually, after another awkward family meal, she cornered me in the parking lot. Do you want children? She asked, and I finally told her the truth. Her face just crumpled. Why didn't you tell me? She whispered. Because I was scared of losing her, of not being enough. 3 months later, she handed me the ring back in the meadow where I'd proposed, said she'd never stop loving me but couldn't promise away her dreams. I watched her walk away and felt like every part of me froze right there. I tried to move on, but nothing worked. Emma was gone. For her, the days just blurred, work, home, crying on the couch surrounded by my forgotten things. Then, out of nowhere, she faints during a hospital shift. Turns out, she's pregnant. Yeah, let that settle for a minute. The woman I loved, the woman I broke, now carrying twins she wasn't supposed to have, from a man told he'd never be a father. She only told one person, her best friend Sophie, and refused to reach out to me. What if he thinks I'm lying, she said. What if it breaks him more? So Emma went through it alone, building a nursery, naming the twins Andrew and Bianca, documenting everything like she was writing to a man she couldn't quite let go of but couldn't pull back to her side, either. She delivered the twins by herself, sobbing with joy and grief. And then she did what all strong women do, she found a way. Raising twins wasn't easy, but she found her rhythm. Eventually, she met Dr. Alexander Pierce, a good guy with kind eyes and a gentle heart. He was steady, he showed up, helped with bedtime, never pressed for more than she could give. They married quietly. Life went on. Me? I tried to fill the gap. Tried dating, even got engaged once. But when my fiancée said she didn't want adopted kids, I realized I'd been holding on to ghosts. So I started writing letters to the children I'd never meet. Letters full of what-ifs and I love yous, pages I never sent, therapy for a heart that wouldn't heal. For years ticked by. And fate, as it does, spun us right back together at that hospital wing opening. I saw the twins, Andrew in a tiny tie, Bianca clutching a crayon. Their laughter cracked me wide open. I staggered out, collapsed again. Woke up to Dr. Patel telling me Emma had never erased my name from their birth certificates, that she'd always left the door open, even if I never saw it. I realized then that love, real love, sometimes looks like letting go, and sometimes looks like standing your ground. After discharge, I tracked down Emma, who had remarried but never stopped caring. We met in the hospital garden, just us and the past laid out between us. You were never a burden, Emma, I told her. You were my lifeline. She hesitated, but the truth was she never stopped loving me, even if her life had moved on. Slowly, I started showing up for the twins. Playdates in the yard, peanut butter sandwiches, bedtime stories. I traded my penthouse for a spare room in a house filled with noise and chaos. Every day I proved to Emma and the kids that I wasn't just passing through this time, I was staying. I patched up the mess I'd made, not by being perfect, but by being present. And let me tell you, it wasn't smooth. There were late nights at the ER, my heart wasn't out of the woods, and Emma made it clear, no more secrets. I checked into a heart clinic, took recovery seriously, because I wanted to walk Bianca down the aisle someday, teach Andrew how to throw a baseball. Alexander helped out. No jealousy, just kindness. The way old friends do when love changes shape but doesn't disappear. When I finally made it home, the twins had decorated the house with stick figure banners. Daddy, what's the most important thing you ever did? Bianca asked one morning. I looked at her, choosing to come back, and staying, I said. That's it. That's everything. We built something messy and beautiful, family dinners, sandy vacations, first days of school. I never went back to chasing headlines. I chased laughter instead. On our anniversary, I gave Emma a box of letters, all my unsent words, everyone ending with thank you for not giving up. Years later, we took the twins back to that same meadow. Emma braided flowers into Bianca's hair. Andrew skipped rocks. We lay in the grass, watching clouds. Funny how it all felt like it was ending here, I said. Now it feels like it just began. Love isn't about the perfect beginning. It's about showing up, over and over, even after everything falls apart. So what do you think? Would you give your heart a second chance after it's been broken? Drop a comment. Tell me, where's the line between protecting someone you love and holding them too tight? What does justice mean in a family, in a community built from loss and healing? I want to hear your story, because if there's one thing I know, it's that love doesn't end, it evolves.